Hello and welcome. Today we're going to do some very simple movements to mobilize the shoulder joint, to mobilize the hip joint as well. So we're going to do some movement with our legs as well. Okay? So let's begin by sitting in a chair, pressing the sitting bones down towards the floor. But before we settle into the chair, let's move a little bit forward so that you're not seated completely at the back. You're seated forward where most of your leg, most of your thigh is not on the chair. Okay, your sitting bones are on the chair, providing you the stability, but your thighs can now move with ease in whichever way we decide to move them. Okay? Once you are here, you want to make sure your feet are both on the floor, grounded, knees are together, feet are together. You have sitting bones pressing down and your crown extending up to the ceiling. So sitting in a way that is tall, sitting with dignity. All right? From here, we begin with movement of the arms. So breathing in, the arms sweep out and up. And as you exhale, allow the arms to gently float back down. Notice how the elbows are bent. So there's a clear extension here, but the elbows are bent, the wrists are bent, the fingers are fluid. Okay? Or we don't want a movement where everything is, all the joints are locked, because that fatigues the arms very quickly. So here we go, breathing in, breathing out. So awakening the shoulders, awakening the upper body, breathing in and breathe out. And again, breathing in. And as you breathe out, allow the hands to return to your thighs, relax the shoulders. And now we're going to create some movement with the shoulders. So as you inhale, bringing both shoulders to your earlobes. So inhale like so, okay? Exhale, guiding them back and down. Breathing in, the shoulders reach up to your earlobes, and as you breathe out, roll them back and down. The simple movements, the simple circles with the shoulders, release tension in the neck area, release tension in the back. Exhale, breathing in, and breathe out. And breathing in, and breathe out. One more time, breathing in, and breathing out. And now we begin movement with the legs. So I become your mirror. We begin with your right leg first. So because you're sitting on the edge of the chair, you will be able to move with much more ease. Okay? Breathing in, slightly lifting the knee off the floor, or lifting the foot off the floor, and guiding the leg to the side. Breathing in, return back. Breathing out. So breathing in, return back, and let the toes touch the floor. Okay, to provide you that stability again. So let's begin here again with the inhale. Inhaling the leg out, exhaling it back to center. So when you reach to the side, you also allow the toes to touch the floor, okay, like so. Breathing in, breathing out, and breathing in, breathing out, and breathing in, breathing out. Let your breath be in your left hip joint. Okay, so gentle movement. You don't want to just move like so. You want to move with the breath. You want to move in a measured way. So inhaling the leg to the side, exhaling it back to the center. Okay? And notice if the hip joint is beginning to fatigue. If it is beginning to fatigue, let's do it one more time and then allow it to rest. So breathing in, breathing out, and then let this hip joint, this leg rest. We start the other one. Inhaling the knee up, exhale, guide it to the side. Inhale, exhale. Again, if you want to touch the floor every time you come to the center and every time you come to the side, allow yourself to do that. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And breathing in and breathing out. Allow the knee to come back to the center. Let the foot rest before we do the next movement. Okay? We're now still going to focus on the hip joint, but we're going to do a movement that is a circular motion of the knees. Okay? And this is a movement that we don't engage in when we sit, stand, or walk. So in order to maintain good hip mobility, because our hip joints are ball and socket joints, meaning that there's a socket and there's a ball, which is the head of the femur, the head of the thigh bone, that rotates. It has the ability to create much more movement than just the walking that we do. Okay? So again, I become your mirror, placing your right hand on your right knee, slightly lifting the knee, and then make circles. Breathing in and breathing out, and breathing in, breathing out. Let your mind be in your right hip joint. Very small circles. We're not looking for very large circles, okay? But make sure that the circles have a connection with the breath all the time. Inhaling, exhaling. So you want to make the outer circle when you breathe in, and then when the thigh comes to deflate the belly, you breathe out. Breathing in and breathe out. Maybe one more circle. Breathing in, breathing out. Let the leg rest or shake it out if you want, okay? Now we start with the other one. Lifting the leg, placing your hand on the outside of the knee, okay? Breathing in, and you begin with very, very small circles, okay? And maybe the circles can be made with your foot. Breathing in and breathing out to begin with, okay? And then let the foot just hang, and now you're making the circles with your knees. So now the circles are impacting much more the hip joint, okay? Inhale, exhale. Gradually the circles become larger as the hip joint starts to warm up, as the muscle fibers start to warm up. Breathing in and breathing out. This movement is done really easily in bed, when you're lying in bed. Okay? But if you're not able to sit on the floor on a yoga mat, then sitting on a chair, you can still do these movements. One more circle. And then bring the foot back to the floor. Let the hip rest, let the leg rest. Placing your hands on your thighs. Close your eyes. Take a few breaths before you end. There you go. You've brought movement in just a few minutes to your shoulder joints, to your arms, to your hip joints. So follow, like, and subscribe if you're enjoying this short free content. And let me know what else you'd like to watch or learn, and I will respond by creating new videos. Thank you. See you next time.